Hello and welcome to the Henley Partners Global Mobility Report webcast series. I'm Juliette Foster and I'm delighted to be your host and the moderator for this prestigious series of exclusive interviews with leading international academics and professional experts on the major and emerging trends in global and regional mobility. Grounded in geopolitical analysis and with a focus on the realities shaping our world, from Covid-19 to climate change and economic downturn and ongoing conflict, the Global Mobility Report series offers exclusive insight into mobility and migration patterns and looks at what we can expect in the months to come. Well, I'm delighted to say that joining me today is Kate Batz. Kate is the Director of Strategy and Business Development at Deep Knowledge Analytics, which recently conducted a COVID-19 risk and safety assessment study, which was designed to classify, analyse and rank the economic, social and health stability achieved by 250 countries and regions. So Kate, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
Excellent. Now listen, how would you describe the objectives of the COVID-19 risk and safety assessment study?
Juliette, I'll start with the fact that our focus has always been human healthy longevity, which is a period of human life free of age-related diseases and major age-related functional decline. So we never really focused on any specific diseases. However, the extraordinary circumstances of 2020 compelled us to create a COVID-19 country risk assessment study. So what we've done, we've used a big data analysis along the multitude of parameters, and we've evaluated social, economic, and healthcare stability of various countries, 250 to be exact. And we proposed policy recommendations both for the handling of the current pandemic, as well as strategy for post-pandemic activities.
And were there commonalities between your study and the Henley Passport Index?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, both Henley Partners and Deep Knowledge Analytics are leaders in our own fields. Henley Partners ranks countries based on the mobility of passports of the country's citizens. And we ranked countries based on the, let's say, efficacy of their longevity policy and healthcare systems. What we see in the pandemic era is that previous leaders in terms of mobility, which used to be, let's say, EU, the UK, and the United States, they actually, relinquished their leadership positions during the pandemic, because there's a very important factor such as, let's say, emergency preparedness, healthcare efficiency, quarantine efficiency, and these factors were referenced and analyzed in our report and added an additional layer of analysis to the Henley Passport Index, because now we have to, in addition to previous mobility factors, to also factor in factors relating to the pandemic.
I mean, having read the key findings of your report, the overarching study, or conclusion, I should say, that one can come to, is that you've found that COVID-19 actually exposed the vulnerabilities of countries that have strong economies and also well-developed public health systems. What were the key vulnerabilities that came out?
Well, one of the key vulnerabilities was the quarantine efficiency. It was very important to timely impose the quarantine. Also, the enforcement of quarantine was very important. Another factor was, government preparedness for risk management. Of course, the detection and monitoring of data in terms of data reliability, testing, and applying the technological advances. There were also factors such as, regional resiliency in terms of certain geopolitical factors, as well as, demographics. We know that the elderly population and people with pre-existing conditions were affected the most, so that played a role as well. So therefore, we can conclude that the global mobility of passport holders is affected not only by socioeconomic factors, but also factors that relate to healthcare, quarantine efficiency, and related factors.
Right, and that leads to another point that I was going to raise with you. Do you think that mobility, in essence, is dependent on how well countries actually manage their pandemic risk?
Oh, absolutely. I think there is definitely a direct link, and it's very important to build on the knowledge that we acquired very rapidly during 2020 and implement according measures because, it's been a big learning experience, and we need to build on that.
Did you also get the sense as well that perhaps COVID-19 is actually pushing people away from urban centres towards rural areas? And in the long term, how is that going to impact on the phenomenon of the megacity?
Well, absolutely. I think pandemic changed the way we live and work in a dramatic way. We've seen, let's say, in the United States, the big plight from the large cities, and such factors like, having a Zoom room or outdoor space became very, very important. I also think another factor that will be crucial is COVID passports. Now we are finally at the stage of vaccination, so having proof of vaccination will be very important as well. I think that remote work in many ways was appreciated by many people, and it could be there to stay for sure. If we talk about Silicon Valley, a few major companies such as Facebook, Twitter, they actually already announced that their employees can permanently work remotely. So that's one of the pioneers in that aspect.
And look, there's been much talk about what the post-pandemic world is going to look like. But from your perspective, as somebody who was involved in this study, what do you think the new normal is likely to be? And would it also include a future where countries are assessed not so much on their economic growth, but more their technological progress? So the actual data measures are going to change.
Well, I think that technological and economical development are indeed related. I think what is there to stay, because it's just one of the pandemics that humanity faced, and there could be more to come. So therefore, it's important to build upon the expertise we have, and of course, manage the current pandemic, which is not over, and implement adequate post-pandemic strategy. One of the things that come to mind is definitely COVID passports. It's also protecting the most vulnerable population. We know that the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions were affected the most, and we need to identify this group and protect them. We believe that preventive medicine will become crucial as well. And then finally, we've seen a tremendous amount of technological advancement and collaboration across many sectors. And I think that is something to admire and behold, and continue developing similar patterns in the future with respect to a number of collaborations, whether it relates to pandemic or not.
Okay, Kate, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much for sharing your very valuable insights on COVID-19 and the recovery of mobility. And a big thank you as well to you, our global online audience, for your engagement and indeed your participation in the Henley and Partners Global Mobility Report series.